Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Chuck Fazio, for joining us here today.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you being on this call and taking some time out of your very busy day. I wanted to, the intention of these meetings that I'm doing on Monday is to expose people to the great culture that we have here and some of the fantastic people that I've gotten to meet. And you come with quite a story, and you have been an absolute pleasure to meet. Had no idea how powerful of a situation you have been involved in real estate over the years until we have come to know each other over the past few years, and just wanted you to share a bit about what you had going on and what you're up to now.
Very good. Yeah. And it is, it is kind of amazing, Michelle, how, you don't realize the real power of what EXP does in connecting people, like-minded people all over the country. It's just, I would have never guessed that in a million years. So, yeah, what led up to this is, I moved out to Arizona at the end of '98 without even having a job. And I said, I'm going to get into real estate. And so I went to real estate school, had no idea what I was getting into. But I said, I want to make a lot of money and I want to be my own boss. And got my license. And for my first 2 years, I was at KW and I was broke. Nobody really prepares you for what it's really like to make money in real estate.
Right.
But I met my wife in the business. I was on a team, and she started her first day. I was in love, and she hated my guts. So that's how we started out. But needless to say, I'm good at sales, and we wound up partnering up, so we were broke together. And I said, by the grace of God, I said, there's no way I'm going to fail. There's no way I'm working for someone else ever again. And we started implementing what we knew would work, and really, it's work. Period. And it was nonstop, and we grew to be one of the top agents in the country, running one of the top teams. And in '05, we thought the next logical step was owning our own brokerage,
Right.
and we were successful, and the journey was exciting. And so we started to build our own company, and we only know one way to work, and that's to always strive to be at the top. And so we quickly grew our independent brokerage to one of the top local brokerages. And fast forward to a year ago, we were ranked as one of the top single office brokerages in the entire country. Doing about 2 billion a year.
With a B, 2 billion.
I know. I still got to look at those numbers and go, do I say that right?
So, I mean, that is, as an independent brokerage, one of the top in the United States. And if you really think about it, I mean, 2005 really was when you started, you became one of the top teams, right? That's when you were really like,
Yeah, between 2003 and 2005, our team was probably doing close to 100 million.
It's and then in just that short amount of time thereafter to be one of the largest real estate brokerages, like it's just proof that when you put in the work, good things happen. And
Yeah, and you know what, Michelle, and the other thing is, and it's what the EXP is all about. And if you surround yourself with the right people, and here's the funny thing that I say to people: the person I surrounded myself with was my wife, and we're partners. We're partners in life. We're partners in business. It's my best friend. She's my accountability partner. So that right there started to set the precedent of who you surround yourself with matters. Even at that time, was one person. It was
right,
a big deal.
right. And then you guys grew your office, and you continued to surround yourself with the right people. And you wanted to continue to surround yourself with the right people. And I'm filling in the blanks on some of your stories because we're friends,
Yes.
partners now.
Yep.
And Tell people what that was like. What changed in your business model for growth, and then how did you realign?
Well, you know, as we started to grow with the brokerage, our numbers would always change. So I remember there was a period of time that my goal was hitting 300 agents. And to me, that would have been life changing and a big deal. And then you hit 300 agents and you're like, all right, what's next? So, you know, we had certain plateaus we were going to. And we realized over the years of running a company. So you got to remember, we got so entrenched with running a business that we got to see real estate at a different level than most people ever get to see. And that's the business side of it, of the brokerage. And we realized that we had to be around bigger thinkers in order to go to these levels that nobody else was there. It's not that easy to find people who run a brokerage with even 300 agents, you know, even at the point of doing maybe 600 million a year. So, and then you also find out who's going to share information with you anyway. And at one point, we did seek coaches out, you know, real estate coaches, and I'm not the most coachable person. And what started to happen was I realized they couldn't even get us there because they didn't understand the level we were at.
Mm-hmm.
So we that was when we was the first time we realized we had to go outside of the real estate industry. And we got around Dave Ramsey and Entre Leadership
Yeah.
and that organization. And these people, God, they made us look like peons. And that was our first taste of who you surround yourself really matters.
You know, it's so interesting because this morning, Erica, if you're listening, I'm not calling you out by name, last name, but this morning I had a conversation with an agent who's just a couple years in the business. And she was saying, you know, the same things you're saying is that, you know, I've gotten this far with where I'm at, but I need to get in the right room to grow. And you can say that when you're brand new in the business. You can say that when you're a broker owner. You can say that when it comes to going from one deal to 50 deals to 600 deals to 50 agents to 300 to 900 agents, right? For
Yeah.
an office building. If you are that mindset of growth, and it's going to be your driving factor to be in bigger rooms all the time.
Yeah. And you know, I think people say it too flippantly. You know, there's that common phrase of you are the five people you surround yourself with, the average of them. And we as adults start to take that as, is it, you know, that serious? Is it that much of a big deal? And if you really think about it, you know, you're a parent, I'm a parent. You know, as parents, we tell our kids who to surround themselves with, who to align with, what schools to go to, because we believe it's that big of a deal. But then yet as we get older, we kind of forget that. And if you really looked at the people you're surrounding yourself with, especially in business and especially real estate, these are people that don't care about you. They truly don't care. And I don't mean it in a bad way, but that's the fact. And that's one of the reasons why you see a lot of agents, what they do is they'll pay people outside of and hire coaches. And for years, I said, as I started to really understand the industry, I said, this is the biggest joke I've ever seen. Nothing against like a Tom Ferry or Mike Ferry or Brian Buffini. They're all great. Nothing against them at all. But if the brokerages did their part, you wouldn't need them. And EXP is that brokerage. That's the part that you know, Jake always says is once you see it, you can't unsee it. And some people don't really understand what that even means. But when you operate on a different level, there's a reason why these big producers and the bigger thinkers are coming. They get it. They get it. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm just hoping more of. And we start to become this juggernaut. I mean, think about it, Michelle. You're a rock star agent. I had this conversation with Angela after we left Michigan.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but think when we did that seminar, for me to look to my right and to see you, Curtis, Mark Z, Al, I mean, Tina Call, Go. I mean, I sat there and I said to Angela after we left, I go, do you realize what EXP just did? It now put us around big players. We ran one of the biggest brokerages, but I didn't have a lineup like that in my office. It's just the coolest feeling.
And I think that's what a lot of people have questions about, because you wanted so badly to align with the bigger thinkers that you had to let go of one branch to grab onto another.
Yeah.
And that's risk taking, right?
Yeah.
That's wanting for more and taking that gamble. And I mean, you took a multi-billion-dollar real estate company, broke it down and transferred it over to EXP's model.
Yeah, that's what I tell people to really wrap their mind around, because believe me, it wasn't an easy decision. We literally closed down our company. Like there's no, you could say, well, you had 906 agents, but when you understand the level we're at as a company, your brokerage is only worth based off of independent contractors. There's not a set business that comes with it. Once you make that decision to move, I could lose all 906 agents and literally come over with nothing and dismantle a company overnight. That's what we did. And yeah, it wasn't an easy decision, but I like that. The branch analogy, what you said is, but me and Angela had to decide, and our staff too, look, if we're going to go to a whole nother level, you have to grab onto a different branch. We weren't getting there. And don't get me wrong, I mean, there's probably people that would love to make the money I made by owning the brokerage, but we're bigger thinkers, and we couldn't get to that other level with our brokerage. It wasn't going to happen.
And I'm sure it was not an easy decision, because there were no real quote unquote problems, real big problems with your last brokerage.
No. Matter of fact, we were hugely successful. And I always say, making decisions when you're comfortable and doing well is the hardest time to make a decision.
Right.
But from a business standpoint, it's also the smartest time to make a decision. So you got that dichotomy. It's extremely difficult because you're doing well, but you don't want to wait till you're not doing well to make a decision.
Right.
And it takes a pair to do it. Let's put it that way.
That's right. You're talking about walnuts. That's right.
That's right.
That's right. It certainly does. And I mean, people would be, I think most brokerages and even agents level of making a change when you're quote unquote doing fine, that's horrifying. Like, it's a horrifying thought. But you saw that if you didn't change, that if you weren't growing, you were dying, right?
Yes.
Like, you saw that, okay, I've got to make this change even though I'm comfortable and I'm successful, and reach for something better. And like you said, I think that's one of the most impressive things. And the fruits didn't come immediately, but they came within a short amount of time, didn't they?
Yeah. And you know what, Michelle, I want to elaborate just for agents out there listening to this, about that thought process. When you are successful and you're doing well, it's the hardest time to move. Right now, the market's good. Agents are making money. Listen, agents out there, you're making money. So you're like, no, I'm good. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's what me and Angela said. It ain't going to stay this way. Yeah. And the part that really caught our attention is because even though we were doing $2 billion a year, we're still a mom and pop shop. It's just the two of us. And I'm not naive to the industry or society that everything's changing at a rapid pace. Technology and the internet is changing everything at light speed. The last thing I want to do is get caught behind the eight ball, and for me as an independent brokerage to try to figure out what my next steps are, because at that time it could be too late. So listen up, agents out there. You might feel like you're doing well, and I'm not a doom and gloom person, but the market is always cyclical. It
Yeah.
always switches. And if you're not noticing, which I've been saying for years, these big companies like Zillow, what they're doing, and you aren't aligned with the right company, you're going to get smoked. You think that things aren't going to change. I'm not only going to say they're going to change, but they're going to change radically.
Yeah.
And EXP is what caught my attention because they're forward thinking. So aligning yourself now is the perfect time.
That's just it. If you don't change, you die. And you
Mhm.
talking about Zillow right now, because they've just rolled out some more big news,
Oh,
another
really?
another few inches of ground that Zillow is grabbing, right? By owning showing time. And
Mhm.
what, several months ago, it's now Zillow is a brokerage. Yeah, it's the Amazon of real estate. That's what they're aiming for. And I've had conversations with agents and with brokers that realize they're riding a dinosaur off into the desert, and but they don't know how to get off. They don't know how to get off the dinosaur,
Yeah,
and they're living in fear, and they're hoping that the dinosaur is going to stay alive long enough to get them through to retirement.
yeah,
And um, and and I just wish more people would hear the message that if someone is money making as Chuck and Angela Fazio are, saw the future and made the change, then maybe it might be something they would turn their attention to as well.
yeah. And I always say success leaves clues. And if anybody was in front of five people that were billionaires, let's just say that five people are billionaires, and walked away from that conversation going, I'm not going to listen to any of them. They don't know what they're talking about. You would go, that's the stupidest thing you could do. Well, really, that's what's happening right now. If the industry or most agents aren't taking notice of who's coming over to EXP, yes, it's average agents, but it's also the biggest producers, the biggest broker owners, the biggest players in the industry are all moving. You at some point got to say, what do they know that I don't know? And success leaves clues, and those are clues.
Yeah, what are they seeing that maybe I'm
Yeah,
not seeing? And I know that there's several people that say that they quote unquote want to see it, and then they try to see it, but for some reason they're not seeing what we are so excited about. I put it on par with the Native Americans could not see the ships on the horizon because it just was not something they'd never seen a clipper ship like that before. They'd never seen big sails look like that before. They didn't even know it
wow.
was coming. And
Yeah, yeah. You don't see what you don't know you're looking for.
correct.
And that's a great statement because so it goes back to my analogy. If
Mhm.
five billionaires told you to do something, you should do it with blind faith because they did it. Period. And then you'll experience. And it's the same thing. If you're out there listening, contact Michelle because I'm going to tell you, you may not see it, but I'm telling you it's happening. And you should say to yourself, why did these people close down a company that was valued at $15 million? I was living a good life. I didn't have to do that, but I saw a bigger opportunity. So
And
you
it
bet
was,
I did my homework.
and what you saw wasn't just an opportunity for you.
Yeah, yeah,
I think it's important to mention that you have a Christian heart, and that you didn't grow a brokerage to almost 900 agents out of sheer selfishness, that you grew that brokerage in a want and a desire to do better for other people. And so what you saw in this model was not just for you and your wife.
yeah. It's my big why, and me and Angela have a big why that's unshakable. And our big why is to glorify God in everything we do. And what God did in my life was nothing short of miraculous. So I'm called to be a servant leader. And we did get to that crossroads of going, all right, we're good, we're successful, we have agents that are successful, we have staff that are making some decent money, but we saw something bigger that we knew was better for them, not necessarily for us at first, but better for them. So I don't want to be a hypocrite and say I'm a servant leader and that I work to help better them and don't do that. So that was one of our driving factors in, and that is the coolest feeling when you can change lives. And quite honestly, Michelle, I mean, you're successful, very successful person, but I get to pour into your life now too as a partner, and that, you know, if anybody's never really poured into someone or is able to change someone's life, that feeling is one of the best feelings you'll ever have. And it's like serving. I tell people, if you're depressed, about life, or you're in a slump, the best way to get out of it is go serve people. Go to a homeless shelter and serve. And I guarantee it gets you out of that thought process. And it's the same thing with running businesses. When you can help someone become successful,
Yeah.
and they go to you, God, you changed my life, the feeling is just overwhelming. But I attribute everything to the Lord.
I tell you what, that I didn't know you were going to say that about if you're in a slump, get out there and be of service. I had no idea. That is one of the things that I have absolutely learned about myself over the years is that I call it my real estate temper tantrum. That's what I call it. And it goes like this. I want what I want when I want it, and I want it right now. How come these people aren't coming together to close these deals? Why are these contracts not sticking? But I need a commission check. But what about me? And the minute I say, literally have to go like this, blah, 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 shake it off. It's not about you. Go help someone. And the minute I pick up the phone and start reaching out to serve someone else, new buyers, new sellers, other agents for growth opportunities, anything, I immediately forget about the crabbiness and the real estate temper tantrum I was having. And then boom, things start to flow again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And you said something interesting. And sometimes our words have meaning. So we're always very careful of the words we choose. And you said, I need a commission check.
Yeah.
The funny thing is we don't need that commission check. It's nice to get that commission check. We're not at least I'm speaking for myself, and I think I'm speaking a little for you, that if you didn't get that one commission check, you're not going to be crumbling. We want it, but we don't need it.
Right.
And that's when you go out and when you serve people who don't even have a home or a car or where they're getting the food. They need something. That's need. I teach my kids, when they use the word, when they're hungry, they go, I'm starving. I go, you're not starving. And you always got to, choosing words is a powerful thing.
They're not starving. Well, I think we've, definitely brought some light into this conversation about, being of service to others, being in bigger rooms, serving with an open heart, and being growth minded.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I think they all really go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You can't.
And I love that comment when you say growth minded.
Mm-hmm.
I believe with all my heart, we were created to grow. When God says, I created you in my image, you have to ask, well, what is that image? The image is clear right from the book of Genesis. God just keeps saying, and he created, and we're in his image. And that's why I believe every one of us in our core likes to grow and likes to build. Some way more than others, but yeah, it's an exciting journey. eXp Realty is the vehicle. It's way more than a real estate brokerage. It's agents connecting, truly connecting, and being aligned in a tiered partnership that no other company, not one other company, could claim that.
Yeah, yeah, and I've worked for Century 21, Coldwell Banker, and then I decided not to pay those fees, and I went independent. And I always had my coaching and my network and my groups, through that to help raise me up and to stay connected. But as I was saying earlier today to someone else, I feel like they would get you 75, maybe 80% of the way there. But at some point, there was still a holdback on the information sharing because there was such fear that you would grow so big to become competition.
Yeah.
And I mean, meeting you is proof that that's not the case at all, because the deep, profound sharing that we have now as partners, you give me more than 100%. I'm getting 110 from you guys.
Yeah, and you know, I don't want to sit and pat myself on the back like I'm some angel or some saint, but if there wasn't a monetary gain, I wouldn't give 110%. I mean, I do everything excellently, but it's not 110% to every person who asks me. So it's that tiered partnership of being aligned financially. It really just puts the icing on the cake.
Right. Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, thank you for taking some time here to be with me today. I really appreciate you sharing. And like I said at the beginning, I just want people to experience other agents that are in this amazing company, because culture is not something you can sell people on. It's got to be experienced.
Yeah.
And so when they know that this is what a partnership looks like, and that they would be partners with people like us, I think it's tremendously powerful for people to understand.
Yeah, and anybody listening who's not part of it, listen. If you partner with Michelle, you partner with me, and I guarantee we will show you things that you've never experienced before where you're at.
And if you don't do what Chuck says, he'll break your legs. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, excellent. All right. Well, thank you again, Chuck. I appreciate you. Tell Angela.
Oh yeah, I love my Michigan people. Love them. Can't wait to get back up there. All right, Michelle.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.